The co-founder of the We Build the Wall project, or Grift, pleaded guilty on Thursday to charges of pocketing donor money for their own personal use. Now, Brian Kolfage, he was one of the co-founders, admitted in court to basically stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars while promising that all of the donations would go to building that wall, which of course was never going to be built. They couldn't actually build a wall on private land without, without permission, of course, from the people who own that land, not to mention federal land, which they did not have permission to build that wall on. And so, look, the whole project was doomed to fail from the start. A very, very bad idea. Now, once they realized that it was a bad idea and that they couldn't actually build the wall, what did they do? They didn't return the money. No, they went and spent it on themselves. Now, his plea came a month before a trial in that case that had begun back in August of 2020, when co-founder Steve Bannon was hilariously pulled from a luxury yacht. That's right. I'm in favor of pulling rich people, especially grifters, off their yachts. I love it. And arrested on allegations that he and 3 others had ripped off their own donors to fund this wall. Now, Steve Bannon, who, by the way, was very instrumental in planning January 6th, he was pardoned by Donald Trump. Wait, maybe those things are connected. Maybe that's the reason Donald Trump had pardoned Steve Bannon, because they were all in conversations. How do you help me steal the election? Well, obviously, I got to pardon this guy, or I can't have conversations with him when he's in prison. But now, Bannon, of course, was pardoned and pleaded not guilty to charges that he pocketed over $1 million and had, of course, used some of the money to secretly pay Kolfage over $300,000. Kolfage and co-defendant financier Andrew Bottolato did plead guilty. That case, of course, was heard by U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres in Manhattan. She'll also be doing the trial next month. The case, now, by the way, the organizers of We Build the Wall had raised about $25 million from thousands of donors as they repeatedly pledged that every dollar would be used for the project. As to describe his crimes by the judge, Kolfage said that the group had originally intended for all the raised money to be used to build a wall, but soon it became apparent that the plan to donate the money to the U.S. government for the wall's construction was not possible. And by the way, $25 million wouldn't even cover a small section of the wall. This is miles and miles of wall that would have been necessary. It would have been a lot more expensive than $25 million. At that point, Kolfage said that they induced owners to opt into a new project to build a border wall on private land by falsely representing that none of the donations would be spent on salaries or compensation to the fundraisers. As a result, Kolfage pleaded guilty to wire fraud, conspiracy, and tax charges. Bottolato pleaded guilty to wire fraud conspiracy. The agreements specified the defendants will not challenge sentences within an agreed to guidelines range. For Kolfage, that range was 4 to 5 years. For Bottolato, it was roughly 3.5 to 4 years. Without the plea deal, Kolfage could have faced up to 46 years in prison, while Bottolato faced a maximum punishment of 20 years in prison. So, now during the hearing, Kolfage admitted, "I knew what I was doing was wrong and a crime." After he spoke, Judge Torres asked questions, including whether he had promised the public that 100% of the money would go towards building the wall. He answered, "Yes, that is correct. Despite your promise, you made an agreement with others to keep a large sum of money for yourself." "That is correct," Kolfage answered. Bottolato said he engaged in a conspiracy from 2018 to 2020, agreeing to assure donors that all the money would go towards building the wall when he knew the statements were false. "I knew this was wrong, and I'm terribly, terribly sorry for what I did. And I humbly beg the court for mercy." No, he's only sorry he got caught. Both of them were. When the judge asked Bottolato if he was aware that Kolfage was going to get money from donations, he said, "Yes, I did. and I helped facilitate it. So, look, there it is. Another scam where right-wingers stole money from people, and by the way, stole money from people who are not good people. They wanted to fund a wall for what? To keep immigrants out. Because they believed that immigrants were the worst thing that this country has ever seen. So understand who these people are. Now, do I feel sorry that they were scammed? No, not at all. And you shouldn't feel sorry for them either. But at the same time, what happened to them was a crime. And so, of course, the people who scammed them were even worse people. And so you have terrible people scamming terrible people. So that's what happens. So look, they were never going to build a wall. I mean, I think it's very obvious, right? They knew it was impossible. They could have returned that money. They could have been good people, or slightly less horrible people, I should say, and at least been honest and said, look, we can't actually build the wall. We just don't have, we don't have the ability to do so, and we don't have permission on private land. We're sorry. We got to send the money back. We got to send the money back. But they couldn't help themselves. They spent $1.6 million on themselves. Colpage, here's some of the stuff that he bought. He used some of that $350,000 he received on home renovations, boat payments, a luxury SUV, a golf cart, jewelry, cosmetic surgery, personal tax payment, and credit card debt. Now, that's not bad enough. Taking donor money and lavishing it on themselves, Steve Bannon was also bragging about it. And even all of that, after all that, he still got pardoned by Trump. And obviously, why? Again, it's probably because, and this is my speculation, Bannon was helping Trump plan on how to steal the election. But again, not only did Bannon steal your money, and this is for all you conservatives, but he laughed about it. He laughed at you. And then Donald Trump also laughed at you. And by the way, Donald Trump left the other two guys, Colpage, high and dry, as well as everybody else involved in January 6th. This is who he cares about. It's almost as if Steve, he had looked at Trump had looked at Steve Bannon and thought, well, that was a great scam. Well done. I'm going to need you to help me run my scam on the American people. They don't care about you. None of these grifters care about you. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They will lie to your face about what the real problems are in this country. Oh no, it's the immigrants. No, it's not the immigrants. You know who's making your life harder? Rich people. Rich people. It's the assholes who already have everything, that are doing everything they can to make sure you get nothing, that they take everything that they can in order to make an extra buck. If that means demonizing the most helpless people, the migrants, asylum seekers, so be it. Anything for them to make more money. That's it. Hey, look over there, it's the immigrants. Suckers, I just took your money. I just spent it on myself. Morons, idiots. Ha! All I have to do is distract you with the things that I tell you to hate, that I tell you that are ruining your life, and you'll just keep giving me your money. That's it. I just have to keep you distracted and angry. And then you'll do whatever I want, including give me money. Now look, I got a nose for sniffing out scams, okay? Right wing, it's full of them. It's a target-rich environment. That's why you see most of the scams happen on the right. Now that of course doesn't mean that there aren't any other scams that might happen, for example, on the left, right? I've been wanting to say this as an aside for a while now, but I'm pretty sure the People's Party at this point might be a scam. Look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but they haven't put out the candidate. They haven't run for any offices. They haven't gotten anybody on the ballot. They don't seem to have any plans to put anyone on the ballot. Again, I'm not seeing anything going on there except for taking donations. So, you know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty good at sussing out scams. Sadly, the world seems to be full of scams, and it generally happens to, be people who are convinced that somebody else is going to come along and solve your problems if you just give them your money. Well, that's not going to happen. If somebody says that, hey, I'm going to solve your problems, just give me your money. Well, don't believe them. You might want to look into the records, right? And don't let their appeals to your emotions, for example, anger, fear, hatred, hopelessness is another one, okay? And I know there's a lot of people that are, especially on the left, that are feeling super hopeless right now. I get it. I understand. Just look into the facts. Don't let any of that stuff, and even empathy, by the way, because I know empathy is another thing that they can play on. Just make sure to think straight. Don't let any of those appeals to your emotion cloud your judgment. And you too can avoid scams.